All right. All right, Dogen, can you give us a quick background of who you are and where you're at today?
Yeah, sure. I am a weeb at heart. So, like most people, I kind of grew up just kind of interested in Japan all around, whether it was anime, Japanese music, Japanese movies, manga, some Japanese books. But my main thing was martial arts, actually. And so I was really interested in karate and, well, various forms of martial arts, whether it was aikido and that kind of thing. And that kind of bloomed into those other things that I just mentioned. And as I got older, I decided that I wanted to start studying Japanese. So I studied Japanese I bought some old used cassette tapes from a used bookstore, as well as like a Japanese grammar book. And I started teaching myself Japanese when I was about, I want to say 13 years old. And then I kind of started doing that on and off for, well, basically until my first year of high school. And then from there, I got really into the martial arts kind of thing. And I kind of just continued to listen to Japanese music and like some TV shows and stuff. But my main passion at that time was what's called martial arts tricking. And I that was my main passion basically all throughout high school and the first half of college. But during my second half of college, I got really back into the Japanese side of things because I started to realize I wasn't going to be able to make a career out of martial arts tricking. And so I started to think about what I wanted to do, what I wanted to major in, what I wanted to study, that kind of thing. And during my study abroad year in Japan, I studied abroad for 1 year at Keio University during my third year of university. I met the main singer of one of the Japanese bands that I listened to when I was like 13 or 14. And that was kind of like a life-changing experience for me. I had this conversation about her, like, why did you want to become like an artist? Because she had such a big influence on me. Like one of the reasons I started studying Japanese is because of the music that her band created. And basically what I took away from that conversation is that you can use art to inspire people, hopefully. And at that time, I didn't know if there was any form of art or artistic medium, that I could pursue as an option. But before meeting the band, I wrote them this really long letter in Japanese that was like, you inspired me to study Japanese. I'm currently living in Tokyo and having like the time of my life. And I just wanted to say, thank you. And they reached out to me and said, hey, come to our next concert. We're a small band. We can definitely meet up and, talk. And so we ended up having that conversation. And basically, at the end of that conversation, she said, well, yeah, like that letter that you wrote really meant so much to me. And I did put a lot of like time and effort into writing that. And I had like a blog at the time. And I thought to myself, maybe, just maybe, I could try writing. And so I went back to the States after my year of study abroad, and I continued to major in Japanese, but at the same time, I started studying creative writing as a subject at university. So I took like 3 or 4 classes on, advanced creative writing, that kind of thing. And the feedback that I always got was the feedback that I never anticipated on getting, which is that, okay, you're trying too hard when you write seriously, but when you write comedy, when you write these like jokes, this is actually kind of funny. So if you want to be a writer, you might want to try and pursue comedy. I had like 2 professors tell me that. And then after graduating from university and starting to try and write in Japanese, I had a friend from Tokyo University. He was from the literature department, and he said to me the same exact thing. He said, this short story that you wrote in Japanese, you're trying way too hard. But like this short essay that you wrote about like these weird people in Starbucks, this is pretty funny. And so from that point forward, I basically just tried to more or less pursue what would you say, comedy through creative writing. And I kind of self-published a few books, I made a little bit of money off of it, and I thought that I was okay at it, not like a great writer or anything, but decent. And one day I had the idea of, okay, well, maybe I could make more money and grow like a larger audience if rather than doing this in text medium, rather than just writing these books, what if I just delivered these essays and little, stories that I wrote on YouTube? Would they do better? And I've been doing that for 5 years at this point.
Here we are today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so many little things I want to get into of that story.
Yeah, sure.